I'm going to jump right into it, talking about my Eagles. And
I think the Eagles' loss was infinitely more embarrassing.
once we hit 10-1, you just saw the writing was on the wall. Whether it was Brian Johnson's play calling, throwing up wide receiver screens to Smitty, or even tight end screens to Goddard. I mean, terrible. The defense could not stop a rush. I tell you, every single quarterback probably had like 100+ passer rating against us. And that's just what it was. But it's not just the Eagles. I'm talking about the whole NFC East, right? Going into the Eagles a little bit more, we're talking about a team that made the Super Bowl, that was leading in the Super Bowl last year by 10.
35-yard try. Jake Elliott up, and it is through. And the Eagles extend to a 10-point lead at the half.
And look at them. 10-1, they looked amazing. They beat the Bills. They beat Miami. They beat the Chiefs. All in like a 5-week span. And then the tail end of the season looked absolutely terrible, and rightfully so. We got kicked in the first round to a team that is, I would say, in a worse division than the NFC East, in the NFC South. I mean, the NFC South is terrible, right? I don't even want to get into them because we're talking about the NFC East. And the Eagles, they looked bad. They had players such as Bradbury look terrible, and whether it was the addition of the Nolan Smith and the Jalen Carters, which Nolan Smith didn't really play too much. Jalen Carter, one of the rookies of the year, I believe. And Jalen Hurts could not stop, nor could he pass against a blitz.
10-0 lead here for the Giants. Blitz is on. Hurts goes down.
But can they find anything, just one big play, to get them back going in the right direction?
Hurts. Motion man is Gainwell on 4th down. Hurts. Nobody.
I don't really give it more on him, but I give it on the Brian Johnsons, the Nick Siriannis, that we can't game plan. And I don't know why we just make no adjustments. And you saw it in that Giants game where they just sent full out 6 blitz, like no regard for our offensive line, no regard for Jalen doing a hot read, nothing.
3rd and 8 for Philly. Hurts loads it up, taking a deep shot.
And it tore us apart.
This is a playoff game, mind you. One of them said, yeah, well, I flipped over to the Flyers game. This was a playoff game.
Yeah.
The Eagles fans were rooting against the team because they wanted to be put out of their misery. It became an old Yeller game.
And we saw in the last 6 out of the 7 games where we lost that we just could not stop the pressure. And whether it was going into the later part of the season, going into the later part of the games, we just fell apart. And the Eagles, deservedly so, got kicked. I'm excited for next year, but this is terrible look for the Eagles and for that whole organization. And going into the next team, we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys.
Here we go! Here we go!
And I'd like to take a full-on second to laugh at them.
How about the Cowboys?
Jokes aside, the Cowboys, if not the Eagles, had one of the best odds in the NFC to win the whole thing, to win the Super Bowl. And they, too, fell apart like they usually do in those cold months. And it's odd to say that they were home and they still lost in Jerry's world against a 7-seed Packers team that did not deserve to be there for a majority of the season.
They just lost. They just played badly. And that's not excusing anything. It's not letting anyone off the hook. And I definitely think, as Troy said, that there has to be some repercussion.
Whether it is the playoffs, whether it is the pressure, the Cowboys could not handle it.
But I'll just say this. Every single one of you, you know how hard we've worked. I don't need to have people pointing the fingers one thing or another. You get your rear end in there and you play the way you know how to play. We can win the game. We're going to open it up. We're going to go fast tempo. Defense, get after Jordan Love. You can't give him that much time. You do what you're supposed to do, we'll win this game.
Look, if I'm the Cowboys, I don't think Dak's the guy. I think that your defense, I mean, the regular season, you guys looked amazing. You had the number 1 defense, if not the number 2, but you fell apart as well. I don't know if it's the NFC East type of thing, but like, what is going on? Pollard did not look as good as when he had that thunder in Ezekiel Elliott. CeeDee Lamb had one of, if not the best wide receiver season the whole year. And we're just going to waste it like that? If you're a Cowboys fan, I'm not.
One thing I did not think I'd see yesterday was Dak getting into it early on with CD Now here's Dak voicing his displeasure with CD as they leave the field. CD is not hearing it, not loving it.
But the Cowboys had such high expectations, and as an Eagles fan, I knew it was coming because it always does happen in the last 20 years. But it's stunning to see a team that, again, it's our year. Yeah, well, I'm still checking in. Are you still with them, boys? No. We're still not flying high, but still, none of us have anything above another. We both lost in the first round. We both deservedly got kicked out. So, Cowboys, I think you get rid of Dak. I think you clean that house. You keep CD. You keep your defense because it's amazing. And you go and get somebody that's going to make that difference. Hey, maybe it's bringing in Kirk. Probably not. I know in the comments someone's going to say, oh, Dak's better than Kirk. Yeah, he is. But, something is wrong here. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what was going on between CD and Dak, but it's got to be figured out.